Well, good morning. Um, this is the morning of day 3. So I made that video in Denver. Um, we went from Denver to I think Boulder. I'm not even 100% sure it was Boulder that we went to. Some Anheuser Busch plant, and we dropped off an empty trailer. We didn't follow the process or procedure or anything. Like, I think they told us a specific place to drop it. But it's hard to explain. Like, as a student, I'm constantly like, the trainer's in charge of the truck, so I'm not doing things the way I would normally do them. I'm like, he, the trainer's in charge of everything. so he wasn't certain of what to do, so I was just like relaying information. I think it popped up on the screen and said where to drop it. Anyway, I don't think it's that big of a deal. They'll figure it out. They'll find the trailer. But yeah, Anheuser Busch is a very, like, they have a system, and it's a lot of self-service type. They have little. It's the trucking industry's made huge advancements since the last time I was here. So we drove north from Denver up 25 to, I don't know if it was Boulder, Collinsville, or something. I don't remember. But then I think that's when I started driving, was in Denver, and I drove to Collinsville or Boulder, wherever it was, the Anheuser-Busch place. I dropped that trailer, and then I drove to Salinas, Kansas, which is where we're at right now. Salinas, whatever. Um, Pretty much drove straight through on that. It's like, I don't know, 8 hours or something. Um, and we drove through town to a Planet Fitness. I'm not sure how, like, big of a town Salina is, how busy traffic is, everything. I do remember us passing some signs that said something like emergency vehicle sizes, can't be bigger than this. We're like deep in a residential. I've seen some semis over here, but I'm not sure if they came the same way we did. We went through some residentials to get here, um, that I'm not sure were legal for us. But we're bobtailing. We don't have a trailer. But I think the plan is that I'm going to drive like pretty much the rest of the way. Like, he's always willing to drive, always willing to drive. Uh, so maybe he'll drive at the beginning of today. I don't know. I don't really want to drive out of here. Like, coming in here in the middle of the night was one thing, but I don't really want to deal with traffic coming out of here on these tiny ass residentials that he had me come in on to get to this Planet Fitness. Um, anyway, let's I won't dwell on that. We'll figure that out whenever he gets back. But so we got here at 4 o'clock. No, wait, was it 4? No, yeah, it was. We got here at 2 a.m. and he went and signed me in as at Planet Fitness as a guest so that I could shower there. And whenever he was signing me in, the guy told him, he said, just a heads up, we don't have a problem with this, so this isn't an issue now, but um, technically you're not allowed to have guests anywhere except your home gym. You can't have guests at remote gyms at your membership level. And but we don't have a problem with it here. And he did his passive aggressive thing where he like threatened to never come here again, and a couple of other things like, well, maybe I just shouldn't ever come here again, or maybe I should, you know. I think he maybe even threatened to, like, or made some comment. His passive aggressive comments, like thinking out loud type stuff, like, well, maybe I shouldn't, be a member of Planet Fitness, that type of stuff. And he got really offended, and really upset about that. And the guy just explained it again 2 or 3 times that it's not an issue right now, but just heads up, you can't technically do this. And then I went ahead and they of course were letting me in. I went in there and took a shower. I'm never taking another fucking shower in a Planet Fitness again. It's a locker room environment, and it's not just a locker room. It's the bathroom. It's the men's restroom. So there's people coming in there, like I'm showering. I'm hearing somebody in there grunting and like grabbing the rail and just having the damnedest time fighting that thing. And just you splash and like burping and farting, and there's just like zero privacy. I can't count the number of times I ran across like the bathroom naked. I just like peek out the shower, like anybody in there, and then I just like waddle across there butt naked. I mean, even at the it was between 2 and 3 a.m. approximately was when I was in there. Even at that hour, there were people coming in and out of the bathroom. Or locker room, whatever you want to call it. It was massive. It was like multiple little areas. Uh, but there were people in and out of it while I was in there. It sucked, and like it's obvious that it's designed for somebody to just go in there and just take a quick splash off after a workout. It's not designed for like a real like primary shower type thing. There's nowhere to like set your, like, if you have your own shower items like your own soap and things like that, they have one of those dispensers that you push in and it squirts out a little squirt, and it wasn't even like the liquid, it was that foam stuff. It was this lemon scent stuff. Anyway, well, uh, another off topic digress on this shower thing is we're going to be stopping at Love's about 30 miles south of here. He wanted to stay the night at Planet Fitness so that he can get his workout on when he wakes up. I can't stand stopping at these damn Planet Fitnesses. But that's kind of why I'm up right now. I'm not technically supposed to be up until noon. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning right now. I've been up since 8 a.m. I only got three, maybe 4 hours of sleep, if that. We'll go back to the shower, and then I'll come back to that. But yeah, the shower is really awkward. They luckily had this little other shower room that was just basically a bench in a dry area, and I set up all my clothes in there. So I showered, and I had my towel there and all of my my razor to shave with, and my own soap and my loofah and all that stuff. And then I scurried naked across the hall to the other shower room that's a dry room with a bench in it, and that's where I got dressed and everything. And then I pieced off out of there, and then it was really awkward whenever I was leaving because that guy that he got into it with was still, manning the front desk. And I said, "Thank you, sir," walked out, and he just kind of nodded at me. And then I could see in the reflection as I was walking out him staring at what I was carrying. Maybe he thought I was stealing shit or something because I was coming out of there with a couple bags. I had I brought in my my hamper. Let me see. I can't see what you see because YouTube sucks. That white bag thing, if you can see it. What is it that you're seeing? Yeah, you should be able to see it there. That white bag thing, that's my like hamper dirty clothes bag. Well, it didn't have anything in it, so I just threw my clean clothes in it. And then whenever I switched clothes, I put my clean clothes on the bench and put my dirty clothes in that bag. So that's the first time that I've swapped clothing since I've been on the truck. This is day 3 right now. This is the morning of day 3. And I've switched over to more comfortable clothing instead of my jeans and stuff. He wears shorts all the time and much more like casual. Like, we don't do anything except sit in this truck. So I'm gonna wear more comfortable, like, sitting in truck clothing. which is today. I probably picked the worst day to do that because he said where we're going to be picking up this trailer in Muskogee is a really nasty mud lot. It's dirt, and if it's rained within a few days, it's going to be just mud, and it's going to be really really nasty. Anyway, so back to this whole like sleep situation. God, I can't sleep in this truck. It's so I hate Kenworths. This is the very first Kenworth I've ever been in, and I hate this thing. This thing is an absolute piece of crap. Like, I love the pulling power that it has. It seems to have quite a bit of power, and all that. The engine part of it is good. The transmission sucks. It is like a really crap transmission. You have to baby it to get it to go into gear and stuff like that. Like if you just put the throttle to the floor, you can over rev it to a point where the transmission will like get lost, and you'll just sit there revving really high trying to figure out like what you're wanting to do, and you'll have to let off the throttle and let it find a gear. A lot of stuff like that. It's really bad in the low gears. You have to be There's a lot of weird stuff, and it rolls real bad. So in a manual, whenever you have it in gear and you let off the brake and the clutch, just idling, it takes off. Like you don't have to press the throttle to go in a manual. On an automatic, you do. If I let off the brake and do nothing, just sit there with my foot off the brake, it'll start rolling backwards or forwards, whichever direction momentum's going to take it. And you have to push on the throttle pretty hard, and to get it to go into gear and to get it to actually start trying to do something, which is dangerous. It's basically what it boils down to is in low gears, like low speed maneuvers, it's really hard to have fine control over slow movement because you have to kind of push the throttle down hard to get it to do anything at all. And when you do that, it wants to do something. So as soon as you push the throttle down, it starts to like go off in reverse. You're having to move over and slam on the brakes because it's like taking off on you in reverse. It is. I hate this crap. It is janky, worthless, and the Kenworth itself. Now the engine has tons of power. The transmission has tons of pulling power. Like we're hardly slowing down on hills at all. We're bobtailing now. When we had weight on there, we had 37,000 pounds in the trailer on the load we had, and it barely slowed down on hills at all. It was awesome. But he's getting really frustrated with the truck because of how drafty it is. I like things cold. He likes it really, really hot. We're complete opposites on like our preferred temperatures. And the driver's side um, doesn't have as much of an issue with draft as the passenger side. The passenger side, it's like there's a vent over there from the outside. I don't know if there's a seal. Whenever he's drops me off at the Loves and I have the weekend, I want to look at the door seal on the passenger side. But there are like seal issues throughout the truck. He so he's sitting over in the passenger seat all day, and it's like 11 degrees outside. Um, Most of the time that we've been driving, and it's like an air conditioner blowing on him over there at 11 degrees on the passenger seat. So he's wanting to crank the heat up really high while he's over there to offset that. And I don't have that draft issue over on the driver's side. So it's like a sweat box over on the driver's side because I've got the heater blowing at me. My feet are sweating like crazy because it's blowing out the bottom, and my pits are sweating. I haven't had. Anytime I sweat, I need to shower. Like I can't stand being sticky and icky, and this place has been like a sweat box for me because when I'm in the driver's seat, he wants the heat up really high. Like he's trying to be accommodating because I told him like I made a joke. I was like, he's like, man, it's so cold over here. I said I don't have that problem over here, man. I'm sweating like crazy. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He didn't realize it, but I made a comment, and he's been trying to like not run the heater really high, while he's over there in the passenger seat, but he's been bundling up. Like, he put some sweatpants on. He's got 2 or 3 blankets he rolls up in over there, and he's just getting like really pissed off about this truck because of how cold he is sitting over there in that passenger seat. And like, there's there's a noticeable, like, I feel really comfortable. Like, I'm on the verge of, like, it's too hot. Like, the temperature it is right now, I'm in the top bunk. If you can't tell, I'm in the top bunk, and the temperature right now is probably a comfortable, like, setting in your living room temperature. But for me sleeping, I like it cold enough that I can put the blankets over without sweating. This temperature that it is right now is warm enough that I can't really put blankets over me. It's just, it gets too hot with blankets. I would guess it's probably 70 to 72. And I really like it like 65 to 68 when I'm sleeping. Um, so he wants it a lot hotter than it currently is right now. Like, right now, it's too hot for me to be able to sleep well on the top bunk. But the temperature down below is a lot colder than right here. I would suspect, like, I'm not going to jump down to test, but I remember yesterday morning when I jumped down off the bunk, like, it was about the same temperature up here as it is right now. But when I jumped down off the bunk, I was cold. Like, it was chilly down there. I would say it was probably a 10 to 15 degree difference just 2 to 3 feet down. Um, because I think all the hot air is just setting up here in the top. Um, I think I'm going to suggest that we get some kind of fan to circulate the air a little bit in here. But because of these temperature issues, oh, and his bottom bunk has a draft issue as well. This truck has 2 side doors on it, and he has a big area underneath his bed, the bottom bunk, that's accessible from the outside. And I think the seals on those doors suck, and it's letting in a lot of cold air underneath his bed. So he has cold air rising up from under his bed, and so he wants to run the heater on blast. So he's trying to accommodate me as much as possible, but it's at this point where he's freezing cold and I'm burning up, and we're trying to find a happy medium between the two of us, and we're both uncomfortable. And so that's one of the reasons that I can't sleep for shit on this truck, is it's just too damn hot up in this top bunk to sleep. And the other reason is he keeps parking us like in areas we're not really technically legally, we haven't been legally parked overnight since I've been on here. We're parked in, this Planet Fitness parking lot right now, and there's no truck parking here. And they're doing construction or something. I can hear them like banging on something, and so there's a lot of noise. And the thing that sucks about this truck is, normally what I'm used to is like the truck idling a lot, and it kind of drowns out all that noise. This truck doesn't idle. It runs off the batteries for the heat, and it only turns on the truck if the batteries get low. And it didn't turn on the truck at all last night. Like, it hasn't turned the truck on that I can recall since since we got here. So it's just been able to maintain off the battery. So it's like dead quiet in here. I have to have some kind of something to drown stuff out, because I'm an incredibly light sleeper. The slightest little noise will wake me up. So I have to have like a whole bunch of fans going and stuff to create white noise to drown that stuff out, or I can't sleep. So I brought earplugs. I guess it seems like there's a better word for them. Yeah, I guess earplugs. I brought earplugs. I think I'm going to start wearing them. Next time I go to sleep, I'll wear earplugs. And the other problem I'm having is he does not close any of the curtains. He has, these trucks come with generally 2 types of curtains. I don't know if you can see it because I have this thing flipped around. I can't see what the camera's looking at right now, but there's a curtain all the way down there, and it goes all the way up Now that's the sleeper curtain. It goes all the way across here, and it shuts off the sleeper. Now that is like, those are just the best blackout curtains you can imagine. He also has the curtain that I think it's over there. I can't see it. Maybe I'm holding the phone out far enough, but there's a curtains right there, and they go and they wrap all the way around the front windshield and both of the sides. I have no idea what you're looking at because I can't see what the hell. I hate YouTube. This YouTube app. I hate this YouTube app. It sucks. But he doesn't use either of those curtains. So as soon as the sun came up this morning, you can see how fucking bright it is in here. It has to be pitch black and cold for me to sleep. And there has to be white noise. Those are the three conditions required for me to sleep. And I have none of those here. It's hot. It's like dead quiet with tons of little noises that wake me up. And it's bright as shit as soon as the sun comes up. So, this sucks so bad. Um, yeah, the thing is that he's very accommodating on drive time. So if I continue to have this sleep situation, like I'm only able to get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night, um, then maybe he's gonna have to do, like half the driving or something. Uh, I should be able to go for like, that's one of my gripes I have on this is, it's like I said yesterday. I hope, like he keeps telling me that what we're doing right now is not normal. I hope he's not just using that excuse. Um, I hope it is actually abnormal. We do go back to normal on Monday because like he's been doing stuff like legally, if we're up in the passenger seat, like he's training me in the passenger seat, that's a duty requirement from the company. So he's supposed to be in an on duty state when he's doing that. But he's been saving his 14 and his drive time and his overall hours, everything, by being in an off duty state when he's up there. And he'll get up, like yesterday morning, he got up 2 hours before my 10 hours was up. And he was like, you can move down into my sleeper if you want to. And I'm going to go driving, basically team driving. And I was like, well, fuck that, no. So I hopped into the passenger seat. Well, so I got up at 8 a.m. yesterday morning, but my day didn't technically start until I started driving in Denver. So I don't think I started my day until like, I don't know, noon, 1 o'clock. Yeah, it was around 1 o'clock is when I started my drive day. But I actually started 5 hours before that. So, and I drove until 2 a.m. last night. So if I would have logged in properly, then let's see, you can't drive past 14 hours. So 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. would be 12. So 10 p.m. I technically shouldn't have been able to drive past 10 p.m. last night. But I drove until almost 2 a.m. So 18 hours approximately was how long my day was yesterday. But we're, hopefully we go back to like normal. Like I didn't start getting tired until the last hour or two. And it was just because of how long the day was. Not the amount of time I'd been driving, but just like how long I'd been awake. It's just, so hopefully next week we get some semi normalcy. But he's in there working out right now. I don't know when he's gonna get back. We're supposedly not leaving here until my 10 hours is up at noon. I think he's been off duty all night, so his clock is, I think, already ready. When he gets back and sees that I'm awake, he may be like, well, I'll drive out of here on my clock and you can, drive when we get to whatever place is 30 miles south of Salina that we're going to be fueling up at. It's going to be at a Love's. I don't know what town it's going to be in. But I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to take over driving from here and we're going to leave at noon, or if he's just going to drive down there. I told him I didn't want to drive out of here during the day, but I might actually drive out of here. We'll see. But yeah, this sucks. I looked at my miles on our Driver Hub app, and I think it said that I was at 759 miles or something like that logged on me. So that was basically a day and a half, because he picked me up Wednesday about it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. So between Wednesday and Thursday, like that half a day, Wednesday and Thursday, I'd driven pretty much like 759 miles. And I could have driven, a lot more miles, but I was up every mile he's put on this truck since I've been in here. I've been in the passenger seat, so I could have put all those miles in easily. But I think that he's driven something like, I know he did 200 miles between Colby, Kansas. No, it wasn't Colby. Was it Colby? I think he might have driven from Colby, Kansas to Denver, and that was like 200 miles. And then he drove from Oklahoma City to our first fuel stop, that Love's that we're 30 miles away from right now. And I think that was like maybe 100 miles or something. So I think he's done like 300 miles. So if I would have driven all of his miles, then I would have knocked out easily over 500 miles a day. So that would have been like approximately 300 more miles. So I would be at 1,059 miles or something, almost 1,100 miles. I think we were running the numbers last night, and he said that we've been doing like 550 miles a day. So that comes up to, pretty much right at that. So 550 times 2 is 1,100. So if we were able to do 550 a day, 500 times 5, he only runs 5 days a week. That'd be 2,500. If I do all of the driving, maybe he runs more miles a week than what he thinks he does. I don't know. I'm sure that he's familiar with how many miles he runs in a week. He's been doing this for a long time. But yeah, so I can be very negative. I like point out negative stuff. So he's really nice, a really nice guy. He nobody's perfect. He has his personality faults. I have mine. But in general, we get along really well. It's just occasionally, we butted heads on some stuff. It's mainly been things that I'm fairly certain are illegal, and I'm not willing to do them. And anyway. But yeah, it's so all of the living condition stuff is a mixture of this truck being absolute crap and he and I having completely opposite body types or something. He is probably much more in shape than I am, and so he gets cold easily because he doesn't have as much fat as I do. Me, I can break a sweat just doing a normal, showering. Showering wears me out. It takes a lot of energy for me to shower, and I'll sweat for 10 or 15 minutes after I finish showering. So I get hot really easy. I like it to be cold. Unless I'm sitting there just really, really not doing anything at all, then it can be a little warm. But he's much more in shape, doesn't have anywhere near as fat as me, and he's not breaking a sweat. He goes and does his workout and barely sweats at all. So he gets cold a lot easier. So and then he probably likes waking up to. He probably uses the sun to wake him up. That's probably the reason he doesn't, close the curtains. Um, I don't know. I can't sleep like with it this bright. Like, imagine trying to sleep with a bedroom light on. That's what it's like in here right now. I can't sleep like that. So I've been up basically since he went to him moving around to get dressed to go into Planet Fitness to work out at 8 a.m. Woke me up, and I've been up ever since then. And we got here at about 2 a.m. And then I went and showered, so I got back in here about 3, and I laid in bed, browsing my phone for about an hour. Probably fell asleep about 4. So I think I slept for maybe 4 hours, from about 4 to 8. And now I'm going to sit here for 4 hours until noon, and then we'll take off. So, fun day. Well, if I have to splice this video, then I'm going to just delete it and make a shorter one. Thanks. Bye.